my name is Ann and welcome to my channel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to help you learn how to make your own food, make it from scratch, and be really budget conscious. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to make some macaroni and cheese. Very basic, very easy, nothing to be intimidated by, but it's going to make a meal that's going to fill you up, and sometimes it just tastes good. So what you're gonna need is you're gonna need some elbow macaroni. And what I did is I went ahead and measured out what I'm gonna use today. I'm just cooking for myself, so this is gonna be a relatively small dish. Instead of, you can scale it up or scale it down depending on how many people you're trying to feed. There's no exact measurement that you have to worry about, but I did measure it just so I'd be able to tell you kind of how much I'm making today. This is about 2 cups of elbow macaroni, okay? And then you want to have a stick of butter. Don't use margarine, stick of butter. And a little bit of olive oil I've got here also. We're gonna have some whole milk and then just salt and pepper. And that's all it's gonna take. So let's get started. Let's get going and let's make some macaroni and cheese happen. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes and you can see the pasta is nicely cooked now. Now, if you're new to cooking pasta, if that's not something you have any experience doing, you can take one out. It's gonna be hot. So take a little blow on it and try it. See how it feels, eat it. And you know, if it feels like it needs to cook longer, cook longer. If it feels like it's done, it's done. Which is good because our oven is now preheated and ready to go. So I'm gonna take this pasta over to the sink. And I'm gonna dump it right into my strainer. I'm gonna pop that pot back on the stove, get it out of the way. And just make sure I get all that water out of that pasta. All right, so that is cooked and ready to be used. All right, now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little oil in this pan just so that hopefully it doesn't stick too bad when it's in the oven. If you have like the spritzy sprays for non-stick, you can certainly use that. You can use a little butter, you can use lard if you have it. I have a little olive oil here. I'm just gonna put a little olive oil in here just to, like I said, just to try and keep it from sticking too much while it's cooking. And put that over there. I usually just take a little bit of paper towel just to push that oil around. It doesn't really matter what you use. I think my mom used to use a plastic bag. She'd put her hand inside a plastic bag and do it that way. As long as you get the sides coated, that's all you care about. All right, now that we got that done, we're gonna pop in about half of this pasta. All right, that's about half right there. And then the next thing we're gonna add is gonna be shredded cheese. And hang on for my shredded cheese. Now, I do not like to promote a whole bunch of gadgets while we're cooking. I want to make things that are easy to make, don't cost you a lot of money. But one thing I'm gonna recommend, if you are able to get it, is one of these little shredders. I don't even care what brand you used. I bought this, I think it cost me $15. I looked recently on Amazon, I think they're up to 20 because of course everything's more expensive. But this is awesome. I use a shredder all the time. And so if you want to buy shredded cheese, you can certainly do that. Buying block cheese is gonna be cheaper and it has less preservatives in it. So I like to get my block cheese and then I just shred it up as I use it. But like I said, if it's easier for you getting started to buy shredded cheese and use that, that's totally fine too, okay? So I'm just gonna secure this so it doesn't go anywhere. Pull my top off, put my little bit of cheese in here and just start shredding it. I do kind of pull it out as I go because it will kind of get clogged up in there. And you want, if you're gonna use this and do shredded cheese, you want your cheese to be cold. If your cheese is not cold, it gets rubbery and it gums up and it doesn't do nearly as good a job. But the nice thing also is I just shred it up as I need it, and then if I want to do something else with the rest of it, I sure can. But this will get us started here. Okay, so I'm going to take my pasta here, and I'm just going to put some of this shredded cheese on here. I usually put like just enough so that you can't really see the pasta below it. This is not an exact measurement. You measure this with your heart. All right, and when you're happy with the amount of cheese you got there, take the rest of that pasta, put it right on top of it. See, I think this 2 cups is just about perfect for this size pan too. Good. And like I said before, you're gonna use a bigger casserole dish, you're gonna just scale up how much you use, and use a smaller one, you can scale it down. Super easy. All right, now we're gonna do the same thing again with the cheese. Just gonna put it right on the top. Again, you wanna put on enough so you really don't see the pasta underneath it, because you want cheese, of course, on all your pasta. So it looks like I'm probably gonna have to shred up just a little bit more cheese, which is definitely not a problem. I'm gonna cut a little bit more off my block. And the cheese that I'm using is Colby Jack. That's the way I grew up with my mom making this recipe. She always used Colby Jack. I've also made it with like the 4 cheese Mexican shredded blend. That comes out good. Play around with it. Whatever kind of cheese you like to use, feel free to use it. And yeah, I mean, you make it the way you want it. That's all that matters, is that you've made something that you like eating. All right, that's definitely gonna be enough. Awesome. All right, other thing I'll say about the cheese is this meal has fat in it. Don't buy like non-fat cheese. I don't do low-fat cheese. You want the fat in there because the fat is what makes you feel full when you've eaten. So if you just eliminate all the fat, you use margarine, you use low-fat cheese or whatever, it's not gonna fill you up and keep you full the way it will if you're actually putting fat in your food. Fat is not our enemy, okay? So there's that. And next thing I'm gonna do, got my butter. I'm gonna take my butter, and you can use the little tablespoon marks if you want to. It doesn't have to be that exact. You just cut 4 wedges. Make sure you get all the paper off, of course. And you just pop them on top. Just space them out a little bit. Perfect. All right, and one other thing we're gonna add, which I did not pull out of the refrigerator, is we're gonna use some full fat milk. Now, I don't measure my milk. The way that my mom taught me to do this is she would put milk in till it filled half the pan. She could see it up halfway. Most of my casserole dishes are opaque. I cannot see when it's full. So it's another thing that I measure with my heart. So you just pour it in. It's probably, for this, it's probably about maybe a cup. Just kind of make sure you get it all over. Because what you don't want is you don't want that pasta drying out while it's cooking. So you want it to have that milk. That's probably good. All right. Then a little bit of salt on top. I got this little handy dandy grinder. A little bit of pepper. I like peppers, and I like pepper on my melted cheese, so I use a good amount of pepper. You can use more or less, whatever works for you is gonna be just fine. All right, so there's that, if you can see that here. Oop, get my little thing out the way. And there's that, ready to go in the oven. And you heard the oven beep a minute ago, so it's ready to go. So we'll just pop it in. Now that's let me get back into my shot here. That's gonna bake for about an hour. So I'm gonna set my timer for an hour. And usually you'll start to smell it when it's getting to be about done, and it's just heaven. So I'm going to let that cook. I'll be back with you in an hour. We'll take a look at the finished product. All right? Okay, it has been an hour. Let's see how our macaroni and cheese looks. Oh, look at that. Oh, it looks awesome. All right, now this is extremely forgiving. We'll take a look at this here. And you can see it's got a nice brown on the cheese on top. Now you may find that you like it a little more brown or a little less brown, and that's okay. Give it an extra 5-10 minutes, check on it again, see if it's browned up the way you want it. So it's an easy meal, it's a quick meal, it's a cheap meal, and I think you'll like the results. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.